So, are losers gonna be mad that this tackles toxic masculinity? Did people forget about how great the Lego movie was? I mean, I know people like it, but it feels like the last two movies in this universe came and went, which is surprising given that they were both pretty good. Well, now we're here with the official sequel. The Lego Movie 2, the second part. And it seems that it's not receiving the hype I was expecting? Is something missing? Did I not notice a backlash for the film and its spin-off? I know Ninjago wasn't as good, but it was still a fun time. Why is there so little fanfare for this movie? Well, I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is that this is a sequel that lives up to the expectations of the original. Is the second part as good as its predecessor? That's a question I know the answer to, and my answer is yes and no. Simply put, there is no recreating the surprise and magic of the original. It was unique, we already saw it, and there's no way you're gonna see it again. I mean, of course you can see the movie again, but to feel that freshness of seeing it the first time, you're not gonna get that again. That having been said, where the film truly delivers is in its message and approach. I won't spoil much here, but that a family film is tackling existential and toxic masculinity themes is pretty impressive. Also appreciated in the film is the decision to make the story feel like it's coming from two different visions. Understanding that fans of the original will already know the big twist, this entry wastes no time to acknowledge the last twist to build its emotional core out of. Simply put, that the film's biggest issue is not being as fresh as its predecessor is a pretty high praise. Everything Is Awesome was a pretty great song, which isn't top this time around. But that's okay, because the film instead becomes a fun musical in this outing. I won't say much as the reason why it's so musical this time around, as it is tied to some spoilers, but I like that this film included songs to help tell the story. It created the world we were seeing and made us understand what was going on. Despite never reaching the heights of our favorite Lego song, the new songs are actually pretty funny and charming in their own right. A particular standout is actually within the credits. I won't give it away, but stay for the first few minutes of the credits and you'll hear an amazing song. Moving away from the music, it's just so refreshing to see an animated sequel that builds on the message of its original film. While I'm not saying that no animated sequel has ever done this, I am saying that it's rare when the themes and messages are naturally progressed. While the first movie was definitely about the freedom to imagine and play, this time it's about pushing those ideals to sharing, accepting change, and building upon differences. I'll admit, it doesn't sound much different at first, but experiencing the story allows you to understand why this needed to be said. Similar as it may be to the first, the message here is increasingly relevant. I remember thinking back to the original, thinking if done right, a sequel could make this series like a modern Toy Story, especially if the sequel was about growing up. Thankfully, I was right on the money. If we do get a third film, this generation will definitely look back at this series the same way my generation looks at Toy Story. It grew up alongside us, tackling themes we only began to understand as childhood moved further and further away from us. So, what of the new characters this time? Well, I trust you won't be too surprised given Phil Lord and Chris Miller are involved in this one, though only as writers here. The returning cast all do terrific jobs, with Will Arnett still being the best Batman. Satire. Well, anyways, and despite some getting less to do, they gel well with the newcomers and add to the fun, so no complaints. Going over the newcomers though, the best are easily Tiffany Haddish as the Queen, and Rex Dangervest, a parody/fusion of Chris Pratt's movie roles, voiced by Pratt in a funny, intense, and surprisingly emotional way. I expected a twist there, but I'm glad my theory was wrong. Which the film kinda mocks at points. So to wrap things up, yes, The Lego Movie 2 is a worthy sequel. I'm not sure if I'd call it superior to the original, but I consider it an equal upon this viewing. It's fun, charming, emotional, and, like I said before, a surprising takedown of toxic masculinity, which I can appreciate. I give The Lego Movie 2, the second part, 3.5 out of 4.